So today we are going to learn how to write an article. Okay, so before we go on, when you look at article kan, okay, so when you imagine that you are reading an article, what do you think is the purpose of an article? Boleh bayang tak artikel ni macam mana? So artikel ni biasanya you would see article in magazines, newspaper depending on the section lah. Okay, so article biasanya it is informative. Okay, so articles would share information to the readers. Yes. Lain-lain. Kalau poster dia banyak macam bergambar, dia lots of pictures, there's infographic kan. Okay, artikel ni dia pun macam essay, cuma tujuan dia tak nak share information. Okay, compared to report. Okay, if you are to write a report, dia nak melaporkan sesuatu yang dah berlaku. Okay, but then for articles, it is to share new information. Contohnya maybe SOP, PKP 5.0 ke, contoh macam tu. Okay, so that is the purpose of an article. Or ways to be healthy, things like that lah. Okay, so far clear So article biasanya generally you would see kalau dalam satu page tu, okay, it starts with a title and then written by, and then baru ada paragraphs. Okay, so all these paragraphs are information to the reader lah. Okay, dia ada title and then prepared by. Macam tu lah, prepared by, then you write your name. Okay, biasanya it is advisable for you to write your full name. Okay, not your pen name lah. Okay, don't write any nicknames or whatnot. Okay, so it is best you just write your full name. Okay, so the first thing that we need to know when we are writing an article is we have to get the reader's attention. Okay, sebab apa? Sebab article, the purpose of an article is to share information, right? Okay, so you must attract the reader in reading your article. Okay, so how to attract, especially in the first paragraph. Okay, so let us look at the explanation here together. Okay, unlike essays, which are more serious way of discussing ideas, article can entertain as well as entertain as well as inform readers. Okay, so inform readers meaning maybe articles would share information lah tu. Okay, so your tone of voice can be less formal. Okay, less formal meaning dia taklah macam report. Okay, pemilihan bahasa, pemilihan perkataan tu, your word choice can be less formal. Okay, less formal doesn't mean that you can use slangs, gonna, wanna, itu bukan. Okay, because you have to remember whatever it is when you're writing an article, especially for the purpose of the exam, sebab kita nak petik markah. Okay, so how can you get marks when you are not using proper English? Macam itulah. Okay, so your tone of voice can be less formal and you can get your readers at you can get your readers' attention by talking to them in a more direct way. Okay, macam mana in a more direct way? Direct way ni macam kita lah sekarang ni kan, kita macam one to one kononnya. Okay, so when you are writing an article, okay, biasanya you can use words like we and us. Okay, same goes when you listen to teachers. Okay, mostly teachers will use kita kalau kita nak mula essay kan macam tu. So when you listen to your teacher saying using this pronoun, using these words, dia kononnya macam rasa dekat di hati lah konon. Okay, so the tone when you're using we and us ni, it is less formal. And then that is how you can get your readers' attention. Kononnya katalah if you're writing about ways to be healthy during the pandemic, we must bila macam tu readers sort of can feel connected to you. Dia rasa macam kononnya, oh, penulis ni rasa apa yang pembaca rasa. Lebih kurang macam tu lah. Okay, anyhow, to make the readers feel included in what you are writing about and try putting some of your ideas in the form of questions. For example, how would you feel? Okay, when you start when you write in the form of question, kononnya you are giving the reader an opportunity to think. Untuk dia macam soalkan, okay, oh macam ni ke macam tu. Okay, so when you use questions, it might also attract readers. Okay, bila ada soalan, dia mesti nak tahu kononnya apa jawapan pada soalan tu, in a way lah. Okay, so now let's look at the opening paragraphs. Okay, so this is the introduction paragraph. The introduction. Okay, between these two, A and B, which one do you think would make most reader continue reading the article? Okay, jadi kita tengok A. Many people spend too much money on new technology these days. They often change their mobile phones every year. For example, as new models are produced. Ini contoh A, cara introduction A. Okay, what about C? B, sorry. How often do you buy a new mobile phone? We all want to have the latest technology, but are we spending too much money on it? Okay, between A and B, which one do you think is a better introduction? Yes, good, thank you. Okay, so ideally it would be B. Okay, sebab dia guna questions. Kenapa questions? Sebab kita nak make readers feel included. Sebab dia rasa macam included, and then you want to make the readers feel interested. Okay, they would want to know the answer of your question. Okay, so B is a better word lah, a better introduction. Okay, jom kita try yang ni, nombor 2 ni. You see. Okay, now read this opening paragraph and use the language bank on the next page to help you rewrite it in a more interesting way for a teenage magazine. Okay, so sekarang ni our target is to start our introduction with questions. Okay, so now let us look at the next page. Yang ni next page, language bank ya. Okay, so there are questions you can ask the reader. Okay, how often do you, berapa kerap, how much, berapa banyak, how much basically money lah. Do you, would you, boleh ke? Okay, can you imagine? Have you ever, do you ever, how would you feel if? Apakah perasaan anda jika? So when you ask these kinds of questions, maybe the reader will take time to think, ask themselves, and would want to read further so that they would know the answer. Okay, and then ways that you can include the reader, you can use these pronouns. Okay, kata ganti diri yang ni lah. Okay, you can use these pronouns, you or your, we or our or us. Okay, just make sure that when you choose whichever pronouns, antara you, we ataupun us, you just have to make sure that you are constant. Okay, meaning that if you start with we, then towards the end of the paragraph pun sama juga, you still stick with kita. Okay, if you start your paragraph with you, then you should use you until the end of your essay. Okay, so now kata balik dekat tadi tu. Okay, now how can we make this into a question? Okay, so this is a sample paragraph. Teenagers are often told they spend too much money on brand name fashion. They often buy trainers. What is the meaning of trainers? Trainers tu apa? It's a sportswear. No, it's a footwear. Okay, for those who have forgotten, we've already discussed this on page 46 the other day. Okay, so trainers ni sebenarnya okay, adik-beradik sport shoe lah. Okay, so they often buy expensive trainers. For example, when cheaper ones are just as good. Okay, expensive trainers contohnya macam they buy Adidas, but then actually Bata is just as good. Okay, so how can we make this more interesting? How can we change this statement into questions? Maybe we can start dengan macam ni. How much do you spend? Do you spend apa? Okay, money. How much do you spend? Okay, biasanya spend money kita dah bila dah guna spend, kita tahulah we spend money kan. Okay, how much do you spend on apa? On okay, so how much do you spend on new trainers? Okay, and then baru kita cerita pasal brand name tu kan. Okay, so we all want to have the latest brand name fashion. Okay, brand name fashion ni maksudnya branded lah. Okay, branded items lah. Okay, so brand name fashion, but kata but itu kan nak cerita pasal spend too much money kan. Okay, but are we spending too much money on it? Okay, so ni contohnya lah. Okay, nanti we'll do, there's a few examples later. Okay, ni contohnya. Okay, instead of giving statements in the beginning of your paragraph, you can write questions like this. Okay, bila baca soalan ni kita rasa macam betul juga. How much do we spend on new trainers? Kita pun bayang answer dia. Okay, we all want to have the latest brand name fashion, but are we spending too much money on it? Okay, so this clearly is a better introduction lah. Okay, so moving on. Okay, read the following writing task and underline 3 points that must be included in the article. Then answer the questions below. Okay, so you must underline the 3 points. Okay, this is important because in your exam there ada TF. TF ni maksudnya apa? Task fulfillment. Okay, whether you answered the question or not. Memahami tak kehendak soalan? Memenuhi tak kehendak soalan? So it is important for you to underline all these points, all these keywords needed in the article. Okay, so ini soalan ya. You have seen this announcement in an international magazine for teenagers. Soalan dia, articles wanted for on 21st century lifestyles. What is the one place where modern teenagers go shopping the most? Sport shops, clothes shops, electronic shops. Tell us what kind of shop, what they want to buy, and why is it important to them. The best article will be published in the next month's magazine. Okay, looking at this question, what is the 3 points needed? What is the 3 things that needed that you need to write? Betul. Yes, okay, what kind of shop, what they want to buy, and then what is important to them. Okay, bila what kind of shop, you have to choose between these 3. Sport shops ke, clothes shop ke, electronic shops. Okay, sebab ni soalan dia, ini case situation lah. The situation given to you, right? Okay, so this is the situation. Okay, soalan dia, what kind of shop? So out of these 3 shops, you have to choose first. Okay, contohnya if teenagers modern teenagers would go shopping the most at yang mana? Sport shops ke, clothes shop ke, electronic? In your opinion, which one? Clothes kan? Okay, katalah kalau clothes shop, lepas tu what they want to buy. So apa yang dia nak beli dekat clothes shop ni? Macam apa dia, new clothes, apa, latest fashion ke. Okay, katakanlah when you go through the question, when you want to choose, you really wanted to write about clothes shop, tapi bila nak cerita pasal what they want to buy, you don't have any points. Okay, so I will suggest you to move on to other shops yang easier for you to list down apa yang dia nak beli. Okay, so out of clothes shops dengan sport shops dengan electronic shops, okay, which one is easier kalau nak list down lah what they want to buy? Electronic lah. I think korang sekarang ni banyak gadgets, right? Okay, so kalau electronic shops, okay, so what would they want to buy? Okay, kan nampak senang kan? Okay, laptop. Macam tadi clothes shop, you wanted to write about clothes shop, tapi when you want to list down agak susah, you move on. Okay, so kalau yang ni electronic shops, you can write about laptops, you can write about phones, the latest model of phones. Lagi one more thing, yes, power bank, because right now everyone is fighting over the charger. Okay, so bila kita tengok yang ni kan, okay, what they want to buy, next question is why is it important to them? So kenapa laptops important, why phones are important, and then why power banks are important. So power bank, kenapa power bank penting? Easier to satu, okay, jap. One, because power banks are portable. Okay, portable sebab you don't have to really go sit by the switch or plug or the power outlet for you to charge your phone. So when you have a power bank, it is portable, so you can bring it anywhere. Lepas tu you can talk about the size, you can talk about the weight, ikutlah. Okay, tapi biasanya portable lah. Just choose one. Phones, why do phones important to teenagers, modern teenagers? Common lah ni, modern teenagers. Maybe katalah, kita boleh kata phones are important because they want to play games, play online games pun boleh, tak kisah. Okay, as long as you answer why is it important to these teenagers. Okay, so it can be other reasons as well. Okay, now write your article in 140 to 190 words. Okay, so this time around in your exam there will be 3 essays. Okay, so that is why it is important for you to follow the word count so that you are able to manage your time better. Okay, so let us answer this question. Who will be reading this article? Yes, teenagers. Okay, international teenagers all over the world. So when you talk about teenagers, maybe there are some words you can use that only teenagers understand. Contohnya macam noob ke kan? Okay, so that it is important for you to know who your target reader is lah. Okay, next question. Would you use we and us in the article to talk to this type of reader? Betul, yes. Okay, sebab kita nak the readers feel included. Okay, last one. The task asks you to describe why the shop is important to you ke to young people generally. Yes, okay. Betul. Okay, young people generally, maksudnya umumnya untuk semualah, semua young people, for all the teenagers around the world lah. It is not specifically for you ni, bukan lah. Okay, so it's young people generally. Okay, moving on. Okay, ni contoh how an article should be written. Okay, so if you look at the article, so this is the title. Okay, so normally kalau according to the previous SPM format, you need to write your name. Kita follow je itu jugalah, just to be safe. Okay, so teenage shopping in the 21st century by, then you write your name. Okay, so you write your full name lah. Okay, and then how many paragraph do this article have? Four? Yes. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Kita paragraph ni 4 sebab dia gap kan. Okay, so there's 4 paragraphs. And then naturally, kalau first paragraph tu introduction, second and third is the body, and then the last one is the conclusion. Okay, so who would like to read the tak apalah, let me read. Okay, takut nanti tak keluar pula dalam video. Okay, first paragraph. How many hours you spend looking at gadgets and games you want to buy in your local electronic shops? It seems to be the one place we can't keep away from. Okay, nampak yang ini kalau dia kata less formal, you can use short forms. Okay, informal essays like report ke, especially on formal letter, you should not use short forms. Tapi kalau yang macam ni, the less formal, yes, you can use short forms. Tapi bukan slangs macam iguana tu tau. Okay. Tapi if you are afraid to confuse yourself, it is safer for you to not use short forms. Tulis je cannot, selamat. Dulu pun selamat. Formal ke tak formal ke, you are still safe. Okay, so the first paragraph, it talks about it gives questions. Okay, how many hours you spend looking at new gadgets. Okay, so bila nak beli new gadget that you really wanted, you go and read for the reviews, and then you go to the shops, nampak Muhammad ni kan. Okay, penuh perasaan. Okay, the guy in orange kan, the guy in orange t-shirt is so interested with the laptop. Okay, in the second paragraph, on most Saturday mornings, you can find groups of young people looking at new types of technology. Many of us want to see the latest phones and find about apps for downloading music, social networking, and other forms of entertainment. Others are choosing one of the hundreds of new computer games or looking at the prices of iPads and the wide range of mini computers. Okay, looking at the second paragraph. Okay, kejap. Now we already read 2 paragraphs. Okay, so far, does the writer answer the questions? Does the writer fulfill the requirement of the task? Does the writer talk about what kind of shop? Ada tak? What kind of shop is it? Dia sebut pasal, yes, electronic shop. Dia kata local electronic shop. So electronic shop setempat lah, yang tempatan, meaning that an electronic shop that is near your house. Okay, so it doesn't mean that if your house is in Ipoh, you go to an electronic shop in Kampung Gajah. Kampung Gajah electronic shop. Okay, anyways, what about the second point? What they want to buy? Ada sebut tak in the second paragraph or the first paragraph? Ada kan? Okay, in the second paragraph, dia bagi tahu. Okay, the list what these teenagers want to buy at the local electronic shops. Apa dia? Dia kata dia ada banyak lah. Dia kata okay, they're looking at new technology, so nak tengok the latest phones, okay, find out about apps, and then cerita pasal new computers, iPads, and then the wide range of mini computers. Yes, okay, the wide range tu maksudnya pelbagai jenis, like this one, okay, wide range of mini computers, macam-macam mana dia orang tengok kat shop ni kan. Okay, now moving on to the third paragraph. Why is this kind of shopping so important to us? I think the main reason that technology gives us independence. Teenagers can now organize their lives themselves using their own equipment. In the old days, dia bandingkan in the old days, young people often have to turn their music down. Okay, turn their music down maksudnya they have to lower their volume sebab mereka tak ada earphone. Okay, meaning that teenagers would listen to music on the radio, okay, using the speaker. Walkmans and Discman are very expensive during the old days. Okay, so not all can afford. Okay, and then waktu tu handphone pun mahal. Okay, dia tak ada handphone 200-300 ringgit. There's no handphone with that price. The cheapest is a few thousands. Itu pun it does not have the same specs that it have now. Okay, and then change the TV channel or stop using the family telephone so much. Nampak tak? Okay, so teenagers, they don't have their own handphones, so instead they use the family telephone. Semua orang guna the landline. Dia tak ada nombor handphone, dia semua nombor rumah saja. Okay, now they compare pula. Now we can chat to friends and keep up with the latest gossips and news or play music whenever we want. Okay, because we have the freedom. Okay, so untuk the third paragraph ni, it answers the last point. Why is it important to them? Okay, so why is it important to them? Apa jawapan dia? What was the point that the writer wrote? Okay, you can look at the beginning of the third paragraph. Yes, okay, so teenagers can organize their own life using their own equipment sebab dia orang ada independence, ada kebebasan. Yang ini the main reason that technology I think the main reason is that technology gives us independence. Okay, so writer ni senang je, dia tanya soalan, why is this kind of shopping so important to us? Then the writer answer, I think the main reason is that technology gives us independence. Okay, so and then dia elaborate lah kenapa, apa maksud kebebasan ni. So dia kata teenagers can now organize their lives themselves using their own equipment. They have their own handphones, so they don't have to share with the other family members. Lepas tu ini elaboration ni kan. Okay, lepas tu the writer starts to compare. Dia compare in the old days dengan now. Dia compare dulu macam mana, sekarang macam mana. So when the writer gives this kind of comparison, the writer is able to explain better that technology really gives the users independence. Macam itulah. Okay. Last paragraph. Ini one line. Ini comment, ini personal shopping. Ini dia punya personal opinion lah. Okay, that's worth shopping around for, isn't it? Kan berbaloi kalau kita pergi shopping macam ni. Soalannya lah macam tu. Okay. So meaning that going to the electronic shops, getting their own gadgets, with the technology, it gives independence. It is worth their time to go shopping around. Okay, so far clear? Any questions? Okay, so moving on. Ini sajalah, kita go through lagi sekali. So has the writer answered the 3 points asked in the task? TF dia terbaik. Okay, task fulfillment Okay, underline the opinion expressed in paragraph 3. Okay, so the opinion for paragraph 3 yang ni lah. Technology gives us independence. Yes. Itu point dia. Okay, and then the last one, look at the comparison that helps to explain this opinion. What two things that the writer compare? Yes, okay, so they compare between the old days and now. Okay, so let us do some exercise on it. Okay, making comparison can be a powerful way of explaining what you mean. Okay, so read this opinion and then write two different explanations making comparisons. Ini statement dia. A lot of teenagers nowadays aren't interested in reading books for pleasure. Okay. Kalau dulu macam mana? Sekarang macam mana? Okay, maybe you can start your sentence like this. In the old days, there was less young people. Kalau dulu macam mana kalau dia orang punya line? Tak ada phone, tak ada handphone, tak ada Astro, tak ada Netflix, tak ada Mobile Legend, tak ada apa lagi apa korang main sekarang ni PUBG. There's no PUBG because they don't have a phone in the first place. Internet was scarce. It was very internet, there's no 4G in the old days. So in the old days there was less young people dan tak ada banyak benda dia boleh buat. Okay, there less young people to do. So dia dah kurang aktiviti yang dia boleh buat. So reading was fun. Okay, because when you are reading, you are able to go to places. Contohnya kan, you are able to imagine things. Okay, so reading was fun. Okay, but sekarang ni apa jadi? But now, what about teenagers now? What do teenagers have now? Why don't yelah, kenapa dia tak suka read? Why don't they like reading? Dia ada apa? The most powerful thing that they have now, wah. Okay, mobile phone. Tapi kalau mobile phone tak ada data, kan? Yes, okay, so the most important thing that they have now is the internet. Okay, before dia tak ada there's no expression like the word is at your fingertips, tak ada. Okay, so right now it is. Okay, you can actually practically Google about anything. Okay, so sekarang ni, but now the internet means, okay, bila the internet, what can the teenagers do? We can betul. Okay, explore meaning they don't have to read books. They can read all sorts of things. It can be a graphic novel. They can read apa lagi kamu boleh baca? Articles not only from Malaysia. You can read articles from the UK. Okay, you can read articles from Korea. Kan? Okay, so but now the internet means we can read. Sebab sekarang ni tema dia reading kan. We can read all sorts of things. So we don't, patah balik pada tema yang apa, point awal tu, don't need books so much anymore. Macam tu lah, nampak dia punya comparison in the old days and now. Okay, So next one, at school and dengan free time. Pasal reading ni macam mana? Kalau kat sekolah, what do teenagers do? A lot. Read lah, in a way, right? Okay, so you can say when teenagers are at school, they have to read. They have to read a lot of books. A lot of books. Yelah, you have lots of subjects, right? So you have to read a lot of books. So when we have the free time, we want to do something else to relax. Macam itulah maksudnya. Okay, tema dia still reading. Okay, at school they compare at school dengan waktu free time. Okay, at school read a lot, so therefore you during your free time you want to do something else to relax. You want to play game or anything other than reading. Macam itulah. Okay, so far clear tak on making comparisons? Alhamdulillah. Okay, so if you are going to make a comparison, meaning that you have to put yourself in others' shoes. Okay, kena bayangkan, you have to imagine yourself in their situation. So it is better that way, you can make better comparisons. Okay, so now the highlight of today's class, Ciwa. Okay, so read this writing task and use the plan and the language bank to help you write your article. When you have finished your article, check your work carefully. Okay, you've seen this announcement in an international magazine for teenagers. Articles wanted on living in the 21st century. What form of relaxation do teenagers enjoy the most? Okay, sekarang ni form of relaxation, cara untuk relax, cara untuk de-stress, cara untuk release tension, macam itulah. Okay, so there are three options that you can choose from. 1, meeting friends. 2, using a computer. 3, playing sports. Okay, tell us what kind of relaxation it is. Then you choose lah, meeting friends ke, using computer ke, playing sports. Okay, and then you describe why is it like. Kalau meeting friends ni macam mana? You describe lah. Okay, how can you describe? You can ask yourself the WH questions. Contohnya lah, who are you going to meet? Nak jumpa siapa? Jumpa kat mana? Jumpa bila? Macam mana boleh jumpa? Buat apa? Kan? Okay, so when you ask yourself these questions, it will help you to elaborate more. Okay, and then the last thing that the question wants from you is why they enjoy it. Okay, kenapa jumpa kawan ni relaxing? So you have to give reasons. Okay, maybe at least katalah if you give one reason, you give one reason. Apa contoh? Kenapa? Why meeting friends are relaxing? Contohlah, okay, share stories dengan kawan kan. Dah lama tak jumpa. Dah apa, duduk kat rumah PDPR. Okay, there's you spend a lot of time at home. Lupa apa, rindu kawan-kawan. Okay, nanti once the school reopens, imagine what you can meet your friends and then it's relaxing. Kenapa enjoy? Sebab boleh share stories. Katalah you give 1 point, you give more elaborations. Contohnya macam ni kat atas ni kan. Point ni satu je. Technology gives us independence. They give one elaboration, then they compare. Boleh? Okay, so nanti when you are writing, say for instance you choose meeting friends. Okay, when you are meeting friends, This is your point. You give elaboration, but then compare. Dulu, waktu pandemic, when everyone have to stay at home, blah 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 blah. Now, when we are able to return to school, what happens? Blah 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 blah. Okay, like that lah. Okay, and then mari kita tengok plan dia. Okay, write your articles in 140 to 190 words. Plan dia kata, and I will add one more is prepared by. Lebih tak apa, ataupun by lah. Then you write name. Okay, first paragraph you introduce the topic and answer the main question. So pilih lah waktu tu. First paragraph you talk about the form of relaxation that teenagers today enjoy most is meeting friends. Pilih satu, the first paragraph. Second paragraph you describe ni lah. You describe the form of relaxation. So this is paragraph 2. Give your opinion why they enjoy it. Yang ini paragraph 3. Okay, and then last one, conclusion. Comment on your opinion. Okay, so you can choose to follow. Kalau yang ini, the sample is only one sentence, or you can write a few, up to you. Okay, so it is your comment. Mungkin macam ni lah. Inilah sebab-sebabnya. You ulang balik. Kenapa? You can rewrite the reasons if you want to. Tapi paraphrase it. Tulis cara yang berbeza. Paraphrase reason also can. Okay, so far any questions before you start on this task on your own? Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, so I hope everyone is able to write this. Okay, so artikel ni memang salah satu format lah in your exam later. And tu je lah kot. Okay, if you don't have any questions, okay, so I would like to repeat what we have learned today. So we've learned writing article. So what is the best way to write your introduction? You write questions. Okay, and then when you're writing your paragraphs, when you're writing your essay, you should have 4 paragraphs. Then when you want to make a statement, it is best for you to make comparisons kat sini. Making comparisons is the most powerful way to explain. So nanti bila dalam point yang ketiga tu, you can compare lah. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, I think that's all for today's class. Thank you for attending. Thank you for participating. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for everything.